Hey everybody, I'm here to do sort of a response to what I just watched on Talk Wrestling number 123 on No DQ CAW here on YouTube, and what Jeff Meacham had to say about some of the things. But I'm mostly here to talk about the TNA stuff. And the reason I want to talk mostly about the TNA stuff is because there are some things that Jeff did talk about during all this, which, in case you don't know, really starts making you wonder what's going on. Well, I'm here to help you out. Now, by now you probably know that YouTube and TNA Wrestling has already posted the videos and stuff of tonight's Impact. Now, if you were in Orlando, this past Monday and Tuesday, and you were at the Impact tapings for tonight's show and next week's show, then you know what's going on. And in case some of you don't, and in case some of you go on YouTube and watch the highlights or the clips from tonight's show, then you're probably wondering again what's going on. Well, for some of you that may not know what's going on, first of all, let me explain. For those of you that don't know what's going on, let me explain. You see, last month at Slammiversary, Tommy Dreamer made his TNA debut by appearing in the crowd. Tommy Dreamer, that's right, made his TNA debut by appearing in the crowd. Now, over the past month or so, Tommy was joined by other ECW alum, basically guys that currently work for TNA, like Raven, Stevie Richards, and Rhino. They were all invited, if you will, to come back to TNA and be part of something big. Now, we didn't know what was going on, but a lot of fans that went online, that went to different sites and everything, had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen. Well, this past Monday night at the TNA tapings for tonight's show, everybody's questions, if they didn't know what was going on, were answered. Now, in case, again, you don't know what's going on, because you probably just tuned in and on the clips and wondered to yourself, what the heck's going on here? What's with this brawl? Basically what happened is that Abyss came out to attack Rob Van Dam with his nail board he calls Janice, his nail 2x4. He calls that Janice. He tried to attack Rob Van Dam. And what happened is the ECW guys, I think, came down and started to help Rob by attacking Abyss. Now, of course, the TNA guys took this as an invasion. Like, well, wait a minute, these ECW guys are beating up on Abyss. Yes, they're trying to beat up on one of our own. Let's go help him. But what happened at the end during this whole brawl, which involved security and Orlando police, what happened is that after all said and done, the ECW guys were left standing in the ring, including those of Al Snow and Pat Kenny. In case you don't know about Al Snow and Pat Kenny, Al Snow was a part of the original ECW, and so was Pat Kenny when he was known as Simon Diamond. But anyway, what happened to end all this was Dixie Carter came out with a microphone in hand. That's right, Dixie Carter appeared on screen and basically told everybody in TNA that was fighting ECW, even telling the ECW guys to stop the fighting because she had invited the ECW guys to TNA. And what was funny about this is that Rob and Devon were helping the ECW guys out. So Rob and Devon are part of this whole ECW faction. Now you might think to yourself, that means, you might think to yourself, oh, well, that means they're going to help them take over, right? That means they're going to help ECW take TNA over, right? Wrong. Wrong, because the bigger part of this story came from this past Tuesday's taping for next week's show. Now again, those of you that were in the Orlando area and were at the Impact Zone this past Monday and Tuesday, you know what has happened. But for some of you that don't, and you don't want to be spoiled, because I know there's people on YouTube, I know there's people on the internet overall that don't like to read or hear spoilers, tune it down. Tune down the volume. Tune down the volume right now. Turn it down. Okay? Turn it down right now. Because here are the spoilers. But here are the spoilers. Basically, at next week's TNA tapings, we get a whole explanation as to why Dixie Carter invited the ECW alumni here. Why she invited Tommy Dreamer. Why she allowed Raven, Stevie Richards, Rhino, Devon, and RVD to come together as part of this whole ECW deal. It's basically to give the ECW guys one more night of glory. Because apparently, to a lot of them, and to a lot of the ECW guys, especially Tommy Dreamer, TNA reminds them a lot of the early days of the original ECW. That's right. It reminds them a lot of the original ECW. Because the original ECW, just like TNA, was about passion. About getting in that ring and busting your ass every night. We all know that because we all watched ECW. We all watched the original ECW. We know what they're talking about. But he said TNA reminds them of the original ECW in its earlier days because of that passion, and also because I think, obviously, just my opinion, nobody ever took ECW back then as a threat until they really started to grow and start bringing in these big names, and people that nobody would have expected would go to ECW. So anyway, that's what's happening. ECW is being brought back by Dixie Carter for one night, I guess you could say, show, and that one night show is going to be at Hard Justice. Now it's not going to be all. Now just to assure you, if you're a TNA fan and you're thinking this is probably the biggest mistake TNA is making by making Hard Justice an all ECW show, you're wrong. Because it's not going to be an all ECW show which just matches with ECW alumni against each other. No. It's going to be ECW style matches with TNA stars. That's right. In fact, one of the matches that's been signed is going to be RVD and Abyss for the world title with the nail board, with the nailed 2x4 hanging above the ring in what is being described as Extreme Warfare match. So that's about it. And basically, Dixie Carter has said that these guys, these ECW guys, will run the show and control it. And I'll get into that in a second.